Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. My name is Esther and this is Q-Est Fashion Up. If you're new here, you're welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, you're also welcome. In this tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how to make this beautiful top on the thumbnail, so you can make it into a top or a gown. So initially I wanted to make this top 28 inches and then add 1 inch for my shoulder joining allowance and the hemming allowance, but at the end I discovered that the fabric was not enough, so I'm trying to manage it. I decided to now use 26 inches for my length and I added 1 inch allowance to it. So I already folded my fabric into 4. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, the camera cannot capture the entire fabric, so as I continue this tutorial, I'm going to be adjusting this up. Okay, now I'm going to take my back measurement divided by 2, which is 7. My back is 14 divided by 2, which is 7. So the sleeve of this cloth is cut alongside with the cloth. So now I'm using 7 inches for my sleeve length. So after marking your back measurement, go ahead and impute your sleeve length measurement. Okay, so 7 for my back and then 7 for my sleeve length. Now to get your armhole depth, you can add 2 inches to your upper bust measurement, okay, because it's a free top, or you can use your bust point. So for me, I just use my bust point, which is 10 inches, and even if I decide to add 2 inches to my upper bust, it's still going to give me that 10 inches. So it's either you use your bust point for your armhole depth, or you use your upper bust plus 2 inches, or you use your upper bust plus 2 inches. Now at this point I'm going to take my neck measurement, so I'm using 3 inches. I'm using 3 inches for the neck width, 1.5 inches for the neck depth, and then for the front 3 inches by 3 inches. The back is 3 inches by 1.5, while the front is 3 inches by 3 inches. I'm creating the back neckline first. So I'm creating the back neckline. Just go ahead and curve your back neckline like this. So after that, I'm going to create the front neckline, which is 3 by 3 inches. Okay, so the reason we are using 3 by 3 inches is that we're still going to open the front of the cloth. There's going to be a slit at the front, so you wouldn't want the neckline, the initial neckline, to be too low. If it is too low, it's going to affect the cloth. So do 3 inches by 3 inches, but if you are on a plus size, you can do 3.5 by 3.5 before you open your slit. Okay, so this is the front and the back neckline. Now for my shoulder slope, I'm going to come down by 1 inch and then connect the shoulders, my neckline, to the shoulder slope. So the only difference between this top and the gown is just the length. So one of my students made this gown and I decided to just create the top. Okay, so if you want your own to be top, just go ahead and then increase your length. Now at this point I'm trying to connect the armhole. Okay, that is the sleeve opening. I'm just connecting. Now you're going to come to that region and impute your hip measurement divided by 4 plus 2.5. so you could do between 2.5 or 3 inches. So I did 2.5. you can do 2.5 or 3 inches. So your hip measurement divided by 4 plus 2.5. now go to the hem line and then impute the same measurement that you have at that point. Hip measurement divided by 4 plus 2.5. So this cloth doesn't have shape, to just come down like that. If your bust is bigger than your hip measurement, you can use your bust divided by 4 plus 2.5. If your hip is bigger, use your hip measurement. Now after connecting the points together, we are going to just curve the armhole in like that. You're connecting the sleeve to meet with the bodice. You know, you cannot just leave it straight like that. Just create a curve. If you know your hand is not straight, use your ruler to connect it, or you can measure 1 inch from that sharp edge and just connect it. It will guide you when you are connecting it. Now for the shape at the lower part, I'm going to come up by 8 inches. I'll mark 8 inches upward and then connect. Now if you're making a gown, you can do between 10 to 12 inches if you are making it as a gown, but if you're doing a top, 8 inches is fine. Or if your top is so long, you can make it 10 inches. I hope it is clear. I use 8 inches at this point. Now you're going to connect your curve to meet with this front. Can you see the way I'm creating the curve at the lower part? So carefully create that curve like you can see me do on the screen. So connect it and create that curve at the lower part. Now once we are done, we're just going to go ahead now and start cutting our clothes. At this point, I'm saying I wanted to use 28. I initially wanted to use 28, but I ended up using 26 because fabric was not enough. I discovered that one of the pieces at the lower part is not equal, so I had to reduce the length. So for this top, you need less than 1 yard to make this top. So if you have 1 yard, you can make this top. So at this point, I'm just cutting. I cut the back neckline first, then cut my sides, and then I'm going to notch where that 8 inches is. After that, I'm going to remove one of the piece and then cut my front neckline. Please, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Subscription is free. Just hit on the subscribe button and turn on your post notification, so you'll be the first to get notified whenever we post any video. So I'm going to go down by 3 inches and create a slit. But if you want your slit to be lower than this, you could go down by 3.5 or even 4. I do not want my cleavage to show, so I had to use 3 inches. So at this point, I was done cutting. I had to cut facing for the back. I had to cut facing for the back panel, facing for my front. So I will advise you not to open the slit for the facing for the front yet. Okay, so while you are stitching, the slit at the front at the main piece will just guide you. When you are done stitching, you can now open it. So this is the piece I'm going to be using for the turnover sleeve. It is measuring 4 inches, so measure whatever can go around your sleeve opening and then cut it out. So my fabric was not enough, so I want to join these ones together to get the second piece that I'll use for the turnover. So at this point, we're going to start sewing the clothes. So this is the facing for the back. I'm going to turn the neckline and notch, and then flip my allowance to the side of the facing and top stitch. So I'm going to also do the same thing to the front panel, but I won't top stitch at the front panel. Okay, so I also join those pieces together for the turnover. So these are the 2 pieces for the turnover. I already joined one of them. So this is the front panel. I already turned my neckline and I went ahead to notch, but I did not top stitch because of the shape of the front neckline, so that it will not change the look of the face. You know, when you top stitch, it will help to drag some of the fabric in. But I top stitch on the back panel. Can you see? Flip the allowance to the side of the facing and top stitch. Make sure you iron properly. Okay, now this is what we have. Can you see? I'm saying that I did not top stitch on the front panel. Just turn it and then notch it and give it a good press. Give it a good press. Please don't forget to hit on the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. So once I'm done, the next thing is to join our shoulder seam together. Okay, so now we're going to join the shoulder. We'll open one of the piece like this and put the second one in, and then you're just going to use one of it to wrap it and then stitch it all the way to the side. Okay, we're going to do the same thing to the second shoulder. Open one of the piece like this and then flip it on top like this, wrap it, and then just stitch. So at this point I was done joining the shoulder. Make sure your shoulder seams are aligning very well at that point. Okay, make sure it is neatly joined. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to do my turnover sleeve. Now pay close attention, because most people don't know how to do this turnover sleeve. Now what you're going to do is to get your piece that you want to use for the turnover sleeve. Now place the right side of your piece to the wrong side of your fabric of your sleeve. Can you see? Right side facing the wrong side. And then we're going to stitch all the way. Once we are done stitching, we will iron it properly and flip it over to the right side. Okay, so we'll do the same thing for this one. Right side facing wrong side of the fabric, stitch, and then flip over. Remember I said the measurement is 4 inches, so by the time you fold this, it's going to be 2 inches. So now I'm going to use bias to hem the lower part of the top. Because it's a curvy area, I decided to use bias. So we're going to start from one notch and end at the second notch. Okay, so can you see? After that, we're going to close the side of the clothes. So at this point I was done with my turnover sleeve, and I just tack it down at the middle. Can you see? So that it doesn't move around or flip over. So I also used my bias to turn the lower part, and I gave it this double stitch, this ready-made look. Okay, you know, we can always improvise with what we have. Okay, and I also went ahead to stitch the side, join it together, and I notched that armhole so that it can relax properly. And you can also use your hemming gum for the facing. Put your hemming gum and iron it down so that it doesn't flip out. Okay, so at this point, this is what we have. Can you see? You could use a belt. You can use your piece to create a belt. So this is it on the mannequin. Can you see how cute it is? It's so beautiful and lovely. So this is the one my students made. So if you like this video, subscribe. Don't forget to like this video and give it a huge thumbs up. My name is Esther and this is Q-Est Fashion Up. Don't stop learning, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.